I'm muted. I'm muted. Hey everyone, how's everybody doing? So I wanted to come here quickly to give you guys, you've never heard of this case. Okay, well, we're going to talk about this one, and it's going to be a very short one. There have been some developments on this case, and I'm really happy to hear about them. The other case, before I forget, that we're going to be looking into because I've received several requests, is about the Cleveland children that have been missing. You guys won't even believe how many emails and messages I keep getting. So I definitely going to look into that and maybe report on it tomorrow. There's some things that I want to look into it a little bit more before I talk about it, but let us get started. Shout out to everybody in the chat. We are back just for a little bit to talk a little bit about what happened here with this story. Now, it's really getting to me because it's a horrible situation that happened in Florida. Okay, you have these children that witnessed the shooting of their mother, and they are now blaming themselves for it. They're feeling guilt for it, and it's just I like when I heard this, it was just too much. But before I even show you that article, let me go over here on the New York Times real quick. So, Florida woman arrested in fatal shooting of her neighbor. So, I think it's Lorenz, was charged on Tuesday with manslaughter with a firearm in the shooting death of AJ Ajaki. I think she goes by AJ Owens, so that's short. But this is her, okay? And essentially, she was having this conflict with her neighbor. They'd been having this ongoing conflict. The neighbor was wanting to shoo the kids away from the area, I guess, and had thrown some of their items and stuff, and had hit the kids. Well, in the process of them like leave the kids leaving the area, one of the kiddos left their iPad behind. Mom went to go ask for it, or actually, Susan had thrown it out. The screen cracked. Mom went to go collect it and whatnot, and she basically was shot by the neighbor. Okay, this is a very sad story. So let me go on and reading this article and let me know your thoughts in the comments. So you have a woman in Florida who was accused of fatally shooting her neighbor after a dispute involving the victim's children was arrested on Tuesday, the authorities say. The woman, Susan, 58, was charged with manslaughter with a firearm in the death of AJ Owens, 35. The Marion County Sheriff's Office said in a statement early Wednesday. Susan was also charged with culpable negligence, battery, and 2 counts of assault. Since the shooting on Friday night, there have been rising tensions and calls for concerns over the pace of the investigation, which was complicated by the state's stand your ground law. Okay. On Monday, Miss Owens' family held a news conference calling the authorities to arrest the shooter. Okay. Yeah, on Friday around 9 p.m., the authorities were responding to a trespassing call in Ocala, Florida, when they received another call about a shooting at the same address. When the authorities arrived outside of Susan's apartment, they found Miss Owens, a mother of four, suffering from a gunshot wound. She was given first aid and taken to the hospital where she was pronounced dead. She was shot in front of her kids. Okay? She wasn't armed. She was shot in front of her kids. The kids witnessed this. All right. In a video posted on Instagram, Pamela Davis, Miss Owens' mother, described the arrest as a pivotal moment. I know it's a long road ahead. And this is Susan, by the way. This is the neighbor. Okay. This is the neighbor. So everybody's aware of what she looks like. The sheriff's office said on Tuesday that detectives have been conducting a thorough investigation since the shooting, including interviewing Miss Owens' children, AJ's kids. The authorities said that Susan had become angry at Owens' kids, who was playing in a field close to her home. She began arguing with the children, they said. She was overheard yelling at them by a neighbor. During the argument, the police said that Susan threw a roller skate at AJ's 10-year-old son, hitting him in the toe. Look at this. And later swung an umbrella at them. So she was out there hitting these kids, okay? The children told their mother what happened and went to Susan's home, knocked at the door multiple times, and demanded that she come out. All right? Susan then fired one shot through the door, striking AJ in the upper chest, the police said. One of Miss Owens' sons was standing next to her when she was shot. Can you believe that? They witnessed it through the door. Through the door. AJ didn't have a gun on her. She wasn't. She was asking her to come out. How are you throwing skates at my kids? How are you throwing stuff at my kids? No, it was not stand your ground. Not at all. Not at all. Exactly. Exactly. Just imagine that. Um So, Ben Crump and Anthony D. Thomas, lawyers working with the family, issued a statement on Monday describing what they said happened, which differed slightly from the account given by the police and the claims Miss Susan used racial slurs when yelling at the children. Susan is white and Owens is black. The police said that in the interview, Susan had claimed that she acted in self-defense and that Owens, AJ, was trying to break through her door. She also accused Owens of attacking her before. And where are the reports of that? When did this happen? How did this happen? This is crazy. Detectives were able to establish that Susan's actions were not justifiable under Florida's law, the sheriff said. Sometimes when you do these investigations of cases at this level, rushing into making an arrest is not the right thing to do sometimes, they said in a video statement. The shooting of Miss Owens is the latest of similar incidents that have renewed focus on the legal protections, including the stand your ground law, for people who say that they have feared for their safety. Some have involved cases where victims have mistakenly approached the wrong house. Personally, I think it's a great law designed to help Floridans to defend themselves, to keep themselves safe. Well, you're full of shit because people misuse that law, clearly. Shout out to everybody from Florida, but let's be real, okay? Come on now. She shot her through the door. Okay? Did she see her have, she wasn't armed, she didn't have anything. Bullshit. Bullshit. And the sad part is, okay, the kids actually witnessed this. All right? Let's just, the kids blame themselves for this situation, okay? They witnessed what happened. And that's what really got to me. Children of the black Florida woman, mother, who was killed after knocking on the neighbor's door, consumed with guilt over her death. Consumed with guilt over her death.
These children who lost their mother in cold blood. We need answers. We need an arrest.
That is the attorney for a woman shot and killed in Florida by her neighbor. Well, they're demanding an arrest, as you heard. They say that AJ Owens, a black mother of 4 young children, died Friday night after a dispute with her neighbor who shot her through a front door. According to a family lawyer, Owens' children were playing outside when the neighbor engaged them and threw a pair of skates at them. The lawyer says she also shouted racial slurs, and when Owens went to confront her, that woman shot and killed her. Carlos Suarez is in Miami following all of this. And there are so many questions this morning, but key for the legal team is why this woman hasn't been arrested. Do we know?
And she has been,
well,
by
Poppy,
the way.
The sheriff's office is saying that they're looking into whether this shooting was in self-defense, but that's an argument that the victim's family says is just not possible. 35-year-old AJ Owens, as you said, was killed on Friday north of Orlando in Ocala, Florida. Authorities said that Owens knocked on...
And the update, just so she was arrested, by the way. The stand your ground does not fall for Susan, okay, in her actions, just so everybody's aware. So this is a little bit old, like, what, 24, 48 hours old.
The door of a neighbor who minutes earlier had an issue with Owens' children that were playing outside. Now, the victim's family said that the woman had previously harassed the children, calling them racial slurs and the N-word. Owens' mother said her daughter wanted to know why the woman kept an iPad that the children left behind and why she threw a pair of skates at them. Here's more of what that mother said.
Wow.
She knocked on Susan's door. A closed, locked door. Door never opened. My daughter My grandchildren's mother was shot and killed. She had no weapon. She posed no imminent threat to anyone.
All right, so the sheriff of Marion County said that the two women were yelling at each other through that front door and that authorities haven't made an arrest yet because of Florida's stand your ground law, adding that authorities, they're still interviewing other neighbors and Owens' 9-year-old son who was standing next to his mom when she was shot through that door. Here's the sheriff.
Yep.
And what we have to rule out is whether the deadly force was justified or not before we can even make the arrest.
Oh my God. This can somebody get Mr. Peanut? Like, this really got to me. Well, we have to justify. What are you talking about? And I'm sorry, I know I'm being mean, but that really did get to me. Like, somebody get Mr. Peanut over here. I can't.
And sometimes it becomes difficult. And sometimes it becomes an obstacle. But only a temporary obstacle. Because it will be moved. And the final answer will come forward.
All right, so the sheriff said that the neighbors have had issues before with at least 6 calls made to 911 since 2021. The name of that 58-year-old neighbor who shot Owens has not been released.
Yeah. Okay. So then that was a little bit older. Let me see. Ooh, let me stop that. It's just, I cannot, you guys. This is just, what was the need for all of that? Why? What? It's just a sad situation, you guys. I cannot. What was the need for all of that? I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, meantime, a woman in Florida who admits to shooting and killing her neighbor is now in police custody, facing multiple charges, including manslaughter. 58-year-old Susan Lorincz was taken into custody earlier today, days after the deadly episode played out. Neighbors have reportedly had years-long disputes here. Lorincz claims she was defending herself against Ajike AJ Owens, who was her neighbor, after Owens approached her front door allegedly to confront her. Correspondent Brooke Schaefer is live. And Brooke, this case is certainly getting a lot of attention.
Yeah, Nicole, this deadly shooting happened last week Friday, but the woman accused of pulling the trigger is only now behind bars. Authorities near Ocala, Florida said a state law delayed their ability to arrest this suspect immediately. We do have some video of her, though, in handcuffs. This is from yesterday, posted by the Marion County Sheriff's Office. This is 58-year-old Susan Lorincz. She is now facing a manslaughter charge. She's accused of shooting and killing her neighbor, AJ Owens. The sheriff said Owens, a mom of 4, had gone to Lorinc's apartment after she reportedly yelled at and threw skates at Owens' children. Police say Lorincz shot that mom through a door. She claims she acted in self-defense. Now, because of that, and because of Florida's Stand Your Ground law, investigators couldn't immediately charge this woman with a crime, sparking some small protests in Marion County. Some people calling for her arrest. The sheriff said because of the Stand Your Ground law, he couldn't make an arrest immediately, saying his team first needed to prove it wasn't self-defense.
This is crazy. Okay, and I pulled the penal law on that real quick, and it says that for the Stand Your Ground, okay, home protection, use or threat, use of deadly force, presumption of fear of death or great bodily harm. So a person who is in a dwelling or residence in which the person has the right to be has no duty to retreat and has the right to stand his or her own ground and use or threaten to use. Okay. Notice the very first thing before it goes to the alphabet, it's a person who is in a dwelling. She wasn't in the dwelling. She was at the door. It is not self-defense. It is not. You're absolutely right. Yes. That's crazy. Come inside the house. Okay? Then that's different. She was asking her to come outside. She wasn't in the house. Okay? So, a non-deadly force against another when and to the extent that the person reasonably believes that such conduct is necessary to defend himself or herself or another against the other imminent use of unlawful force, or B, deadly force if he or she reasonably believes that using or threatening to use such force is necessary to prevent imminent death or great bodily harm to himself or herself or another, or to prevent the imminent commission of forcible felony. Notice keyword forcible, okay? Inside dwelling, that did not apply here. So why didn't they arrest her sooner? Yeah, throw skates at children is deadly force, right? That is like that is not stand your ground. And even this uh Billy, the peanut guy sheriff, why didn't he arrest her then? Like, what was the delay? She wasn't she wasn't in the house. She wasn't a threat. You took a child's iPad, yelled slurs, and had to shoot because she was in danger? Think not. Absolutely. Straight up murder. That's right. She knew who it was outside. It was on purpose. Should be manslaughter. Should be murder. Absolutely. Absolutely. Florida's a proud hate state. I mean, hey, Miss Dailies, how are you, my love? You would have to think. I couldn't believe it. They should have arrested right away. Right away. It's written. It's pretty, I don't know. It's there. And who said that it was justifiable for use of force? Who said it was stand your ground? Who came up with that if they were trying to investigate if that's what it was? That doesn't make sense. And then it says on number 2, a person is presumed to have held a reasonable fear of imminent of death or greater bodily harm to himself or herself or another when threatening to use defense force that is intended or likely to cause death or great bodily harm to another if the person against whom the defense force was used or threatened was in the process of unlawfully and forcefully entering, which didn't qualify here. She was out of the door. It is, oh, yes, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Miss Dailies. Yes, ma'am. Tazzy says, back in Illinois, I had a wagon walking up and down my house with a gun. I was at work. Husband took care of the situation. Wow. Because she's white, I'm white. And if it was the other way around, the woman would be charged with M. Nebula says, an eye for an eye society. We are all blind. Absolutely. Hoping for answers. White entitlement, and I'm a white female too. Disgusted and heartbroken. I mean, listen. This one right here. And you know what the sad part is? Her kids witnessed it. Her kids saw it. Yes. Kids saw it all, and they blame each other for it. They were like, had she not gone down there, maybe if they hadn't said anything, they completely do. Why didn't the lady they had already Daz, good point. She had already called the cops before. There had been 911 calls before. Why didn't she do that? Why did she grab her gun? Why the gun? This was years of dispute. Why the gun? What was so different now? Has she knocked at the door before? She's asking you to come outside. She didn't have to. She could have called 911. She could have ignored her. No, she shot through the door. This is just crazy, guys. Yes, they will be. And I hope she's in prison. I hope she stays there. I hope she's convicted. I hope that then she gets no special treatment over this situation. I had to come back and just read this one a little bit and let everybody know. Make sure you guys are, I mean, I know, I'm just thinking of those kids, 4 kids, 4 of them, 4 of them. No more mom over this. This is unnecessary. That's just, I'm surprised it's not a hate crime. It should be assault, especially since she hurt those kids. Those kids, I mean, they should have pressed charges over. She should have pressed charges over those kids. But I mean, this is how it all happened. This is how it went down. No, it's just horrible, guys. But anyways, I will see you guys tomorrow. I just wanted to come back and talk about this one because this case really kind of got to me. Keep that family in your, thoughts and prayers, and make sure you're sharing as well. And I guess we'll see. It's a developing story, and I hope that she's convicted. All right. You guys have a great one. Rabbits out.